Good morning. Oh my goodness. Hello, you guys. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I can't tell how many people are here. Looks like a couple, but people who are not like signed in through an account, I can't really see. Do you like my background? Can you hear me? Somebody is clearly ready for Halloween. Okay, let me see. Oh, Charlie Jean, good morning. I can hear you. Okay, good. Okay, so hello and welcome to Monday morning. Oh my goodness, you guys. I hope you had a good weekend and let's just have a little sip of our Joe here. I've got my I don't know, I don't know if you guys have Fred Meyer's where you're at, but they have a coffee called caramel truffle. And so that's what I'm drinking right now. What are you drinking? And maybe it's wherever you are when you end up watching this. Excuse me, I have a little hair in my glasses. Um, People are going to watch this later, so maybe even now if they're watching, it might be past their time of drinking coffee. But it isn't for me, and this is my second cup. I've been holding off on my second cup so that I could drink it with you guys. So good morning. Mm, mm. Too hot. Oh my goodness, what is this? I have like a little hair. So it's Monday morning. Let me see. Love the spooky vibe. Good. I actually have some Halloween music in the background, but it's quite low. I just have it for a little bit of mood. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I have the non-copyright epidemic sound going for Halloween Town. Let me see. I just turned it up one. I have it in another room because I didn't want it to compete with my voice. But I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited for Halloween. As you can see, wait, I'm backwards here. Um, I made these, my husband and I made these actually. There's another one over here, and this is a funny story. At Dollar Tree, they actually Dollar Tree has changed and it's like a $1.25 tree now, and they've changed things. Um, where you can get some better decor items and they're like $5. And so this one came as stackable with 3. And you can see you can see the other 2 that were meant to go on top of this, but I did something really funny. My husband and I kind of forced him to do this project. I said, "Come on, we're going to do a Halloween project together, honey." And of course, he didn't want to do it, but he humored me. And I said, let's look at different pictures of jack-o'-lanterns, pick the one that you like. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trace it out on a piece of paper. We're going to cut it out, tape it on, and then we're going to trace it so that we actually have our own jack-o'-lantern and we'll just color it in. I was thinking of actually cutting into it, but this actually, where I said, if it looks okay, we'll just leave it like that. So we did our projects and we had so much fun doing it, right? And my husband actually ended up really enjoying it. And then I went to go, get a light and stack them up, put the light at the bottom piece and stack them. And what ended up happening was we drew on them upside down. So those pumpkins there no longer fit on this. And I was not ready to I loved how it turned out. So I'm like, to me, art happens in the mistakes. And so I just went with it. I said, well, you know what? I want to put something on top of it. Maybe I can make like a witch's cap or something like that. And so I went back in there and I found something that would work for that. And so what's the bottom piece here is actually it's funny. It was supposed to be like a witch's cap, but it looked more like it actually, maybe it was in the Halloween area, but you know what? Because Thanksgiving is coming, it looked to me more like a pilgrim hat. So I'm like, this is not gonna do. So what I ended up doing was I got paper, construction paper at the Dollar Tree as well, and I made a cone out of it, and I put it stapled it together, taped it, all that. Um, no, I didn't use the paper after all, actually. I got floor mat, those black floor mats, and then I made it into a cone, cut off the excess, hot glued it, put it on top of the little chip tray, and then glued that, and then I got all this extra stuff at the Dollar Tree as well, and then this comes off and on so that you can get to the candle, and it actually is 2 sides. I have this too. So I just kinda move it around whatever my mood is, but I kinda like these little dangly things in front of his face. So, this is the story with my jack-o'-lanterns, our little project, but art happens in the mistakes, so it's fun stuff, and I was gonna do this live stream in the study where I have stuff set up all the time, but I thought, "No, I wanna do it out here in a different vibe because I wanna drink my coffee, I want it to be a little more, feel like we're having coffee together, right? Because we are. And I realized that, I kinda do these on the seat of my pants. I have some things that I wanna talk to you about, and some new things came up this morning. So, before I go any further, though, let me look and see. Kathy, good morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Oh, Zontel. Is this the first time that you're here, Zontel? I'm not sure. Good evening, from South Africa. Like to drink coffee right now. You know what's funny is I can drink coffee at any time. So I ended up waking up like I couldn't go to sleep, so I stayed up and I did some work and I actually was drinking coffee during that. It doesn't really make me stay up. And then when I get tired enough, I go back to bed. So I always utilize my time wisely because the worst thing in the world is just sitting in bed and your mind is fully awake, you're just sitting there. Like, sometimes you can sit there and get tired again and go to bed, but for me, when I'm up, like, I'm up. So I'm like, "Well, I'm just gonna get up then and do something." And so that's what I did, and I drink coffee then, but, yeah, this is my 2nd coffee, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. Looks like there's a few more people that are here, so good morning and welcome whoever's here. Okay, so I hope you all had a good weekend. Um, Trying to think, what did I do? Do you ever have that where your weekend is just kind of a blur? I know we went to walk in the forest. Mm, I bought some more security cameras because we had somebody throw some liquid stuff on top of my car. I don't know why. But it made me realize that we need to have a security camera in the carport. So I actually bought a special camera for the carport because right now I just have it facing the study out into the carport and it's not picking things up. So I did that, but then I had to go buy a ladder because I have to get up super high in order to install it. So I did some of that. We went for a walk in the forest. I always make sure that I get exercise every weekend, and I hope you guys are doing that too. Was also thinking of another, this weekend I was talking with my husband and thinking about, like, I wanna do another course, and I had kinda started one, but I also go with my motivation of how I feel, and I felt like I wanted to do a course that represents really the stuff that I'm focused on right now, and so I'm gonna be recording. I don't know exactly the name. I'm playing with the names of it right now, but it's gonna be health and wellness related, health and fitness related. I might even do a couple of fitness videos, which will be funny. I mean, they're gonna be real videos that you can do with me, but I wanna do some morning routine videos, and make that part of the class. So if you wanted to actually do those with me, you could. Um, and of course, there'll be a workout, but it'll also be fun and, kinda tongue in cheek, but an actual real workout. But it's also gonna incorporate food and health and nutrition because I've learned so much, and I feel like we learn these things in stages, and I've learned a lot, especially with the help of my sister, Marcy, who really helped educate me in a lot of things. Um, I feel like we're all working towards, I don't wanna say being better because that makes it sound like there's something wrong with us, but we're working on longevity and endurance, but we're really focused on our health and wellness in a great way, And I just, again, wanna share the things that I've done, over the last, gosh, 7, 8 months now. I don't know how long. It's been longer than 6 months, but, I've really been working on my wellness and losing some weight, and I did lose 20 pounds, and I did it over time, and I changed a lot of things about the way that I eat. I felt like I ate good already, but I ate too much of stuff, and I also had a area where I was eating bad foods, and then I find out now that I've cut them out, the majority of them out, that these are like high stroke foods that if you eat them all the time, like sugars and chips and stuff like that. So I'm thinking of, packaging it in a way that is fun and diverse, and, as I always do, I just share what I've learned and what I know, and, I do it being my authentic self, and so it's gonna be playful, but also serious at the same time. So I'm thinking that that's gonna be the next course that I focus on because it's really related to the stuff that I'm dealing with right now, or have been dealing with, and I've learned a lot, so I wanna share it. And I think it'd be fun too to, like, some of these recipes of healthier ways to do things, like desserts and other things that you're cutting sugar out. I've come up with some amazing things that taste so good. I've found a lot of sugar-free products, and they're amazing, and it's like, why wouldn't you eat this as a snack when it's got, you're not eating all the sugar intake, and you're getting to fill that sugar need that you have to eat something sweet. Why wouldn't you do something better for yourself? And I feel like, we're working on ourselves, and we're working on being the best human beings that we can, and we're working on high quality of life, and the way that we are kind to our body is a big part of that, and this is not, I think it has to be realistic. It can't be about, you can't have any of the things that you want, but there is a way to balance things out, and, so that you're a well-rounded person who gets to enjoy life and has a long life to enjoy, right? So anyway, those are some of the things that I was thinking about this weekend. I literally cannot remember all the things that we did. We went out to eat. Did we go out to eat? No, I think we were gonna go out to eat, and we decided we didn't want any heavy foods. So we actually stayed home and had fish tacos. My husband made those. I do a lot of cooking during the week, and he does it on the weekends, for me. So I love that. Let me see. Let me check in. Sounds fantastic. I have over 20 food allergies and pseudo allergies, so dieting gets super tricky for me. Well, that's the thing is I don't look at it as dieting. Um, I think it's really important to know yourself, and that's part of it. So what you're saying is about, you have to know all these things about yourself in order to tailor what works for you, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like you have to really look at yourself, and it's work. That's the thing too, is that a lot of people a lot of people, they need to do the work to get there, and that's the thing that makes it really difficult because you are saying no to a lot of things. There's this, comedian, Bill Burr. I think this was an old show. I thought it was new, and he's like, "No, honey, that's old." But, he was commenting on, just on weight related stuff, and of course, he was being crass in a lot of things, but, um, he touched on the point that, like, when people go to get really fit for movies, it's difficult, it's not easy. They're really having to, sculpt their bodies, they're having to work out, they're having to eat foods, they say no to a lot of things, and it's really hard work. Whereas, eating whatever you want is easy, but then it gets us to this place where we're maybe not experiencing the best health. Like for me, eating all the chips and all that other stuff was causing me to get to diabetic level. When I got that reading from my annual physical, I was like, no way. So It's not easy, but it's fun, and it's really cool to learn the things and be able to, like, look at yourself and love what you see in the mirror and, just know that you're being kind to your body. So, anyway, I don't wanna spend too long on this because I've already gone on probably too long. Um, but these are the things that I'm thinking about, and it goes in alignment with everything that we talk about, which is the complete person that loves themselves, um, that is educated and giving yourself opportunities and having the life you want, living the life you want to live, and just being as happy as you possibly can and understanding yourself and your emotions and all that stuff. So um, this is just like next level stuff. So let's see. Let me read. I see some other comments that came through. That sounds amazing. I lost 40 pounds or 40 kilograms last year. I don't how what is the do you know what's the conversion? I'm not good at that. So tell us what the conversion is in US. But congratulations, that's amazing. I also have a lot of physical activity restrictions going on right now. So well, here's the thing. What do I always say? Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. So, you have limitations about certain things, activity wise and food wise, and all that stuff, but you focus on what you want, not on what you don't want, right? So you know that about yourself and you do what you can do. And that's the important thing. That's what all this is about is knowing yourself enough and then still going towards healthiness, whatever that means to you in the area that you need to focus on and doing that and tailoring it to your authentic self who knows you. You know what your needs are, so you need to be following what works for you. And this is a perfect segue for something I want to talk about, which I mentioned and I just posted, going live and I something came up this morning, but it was actually from the weekend too. I'm going to tell you the story of this. So I wanted to talk to you. Sorry, I've got got an itchy. I want to talk to you about comparison cautions. And, that was a great segue because we were talking about being your authentic self, and what's really interesting is I saw this video that popped up, and the reason why this video popped up, I'm gonna back up here. I saw a video about influencers caught lying about their lifestyle, and one of the things that I talk about a lot is how people are often very people get depressed. They don't mean to, obviously, but they get depressed because they go online and they're scrolling, and the algorithms are geared to keep your face in your phone for hours. I mean, how many of us have gotten lost in time, not realizing how long we've been watching stories and reels? And all of a sudden we're like, "Oh my god, where did the night go? I've been sitting here for hours doing this," or hopefully not hours, but a chunk of your time, like you forgot why you went on to begin with, right? And then you got stuck in all these viral videos. And this video that popped up was about people who are lying, getting like influencers getting caught in the lies, like they're totally lying about their lifestyle. And it really caught my attention because one, I got caught in one of these lies this weekend and I actually experimented with it, which was really interesting. And I realized it was a lie. And then all of a sudden that this morning, this video popped up and this woman is revealing all these lies of people. And she really like does her detective work and you can see it on screen, but she points it out. And I will put that link in the description so you can watch it. But the bigger reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of times we compare ourselves to get depressed about it. We see people who are posting all these things and um, sometimes they're really nice. Sometimes you see people on there that are very rude or they might say something shocking. Um, Sometimes people are on there and they are promoting this perfect life, and then, they're traveling and they're all over the place and they're just talking about how much money they have and how they, all this stuff about they have an unlimited budget and how much money they spend. And this is something that this girl covers in one of the videos. And it just made me realize how many things are so deceptive out there, and people are comparing their life to the things that they don't even realize they're watching that are a complete fabrication. It isn't real. And it's really crazy. So I'm gonna give you an example of this. This is, harmless, but it's a lie. So I got caught in this thing, and you guys might have seen this online too in social media, where it was this viral video where everybody is doing this wine glass, and they cover the bottom piece with tin foil, and then they put their phone up next. They tape it to a box, and then they put their phone next to it, and it projects. Supposedly, the picture on your phone projects through the open hole of the wine glass facing this way, and it projects onto the wall. And they're like, "Oh my god, it works." So I'm like, "That is so cool. I wanna try that because I love little experiments. I experiment with food, but I thought, "This is fun. Let's do this." If I could do that, that would be fun sometimes to lay in bed and project a movie or something on the closets or something. I thought, "How cool would that be?" And my husband was away on a gig, and so I was geeking out and doing my own thing on the weekend, and so I ended up doing this project, and the first one I started with a wine glass, and it didn't work. So I thought, "Well, let me watch it again," and I watched it several times. Let me watch it several times. Maybe I'm wrapping the bottom wrong. Maybe I need more tin foil. Maybe I need to go up the glass more. I did all of the stuff, and I keep watching the video to make sure I'm doing it right. Then I thought, "Okay," saw somebody else. I go and find another person, and their glass is shorter. So I thought, "Okay, let me watch them. They do it with a shorter glass, a short stem. I do that one." Doesn't work. Then, after doing this for like an hour and watching all these other videos of people doing it and trying to figure out what am I doing wrong? And mind you, I just had time to blow. So this was just fun time. I was geeking out and entertaining myself, right? So then start getting suspicious. And I'm like, "Wait a minute here. What's going on here?" And I type in fake projector in glass hack. And all of a sudden, I see all these videos come up of people who are, revealing that it actually doesn't work. And then, of course, I was like, man, why would people lie about that? That's so weird. Well, why did they do it? Because they were getting views. They were getting more people watching this fictitious thing and then watching it even longer when it wasn't working, because that's what I did, right? I watched the same video, like, maybe 10 or 20 times because it wasn't working, and I was sure it was me, because there are so many videos out there that are showing you it works. So, that was my first inkling, and I was like, "Oh, that's so weird," but, of course, then I moved on to how do you really make a projector, and I found out a way to do it, which I want to actually do the projector thing, because you can do, like, a shoe box, and you can go to the Dollar Tree and get one of those magnifying glasses, and you can cut out a hole and put that there and put your phone in there, and if you wanna do it right, you can put a mirror down right in front, and I guess it, because you'd have to turn your phone upside down if you don't do a mirror because of the way that it projects. But anyway, I wanna do that. It made me look at how to do this, in a box, and I am definitely gonna try it because it's interesting to me, but it was more interesting to me that people were lying about it. I was like, "Why would you lie about something like that?" It just seemed weird to me, and it never dawned on me that people would do this on purpose, okay? Until this morning, this video comes up. And there are a slew of videos of people who are just, and it's a name, I had to write it down. It's called rage baiting. And people on purpose will make people angry or frustrated, or they will do shocking things, or they will pretend, like, for instance, they'll pretend that um they're feeding their kids. Here, I'm stocking my kids, refrigerator with food for the week. And the food that they're showing that they're stocking is all sugar, which enrages other parents who are watching, right? Because that's not what you do. There's another one that she showed where somebody was cooking for, "Oh, cooking a meal, a healthy, nutritious meal for my husband for when he gets home," and it's like hamburger, red meat, and a piece of cheese with hair on it, and she throws that in, and all this oil she pours, and then, like, half of the salt container, and it's all this stuff that just enrages people, right? Because that's disgusting. So everyone's commenting on it, and why do they do it? They do these things where they are rage baiting because the algorithm likes it. And the more people are commenting, the more it puts that person in the algorithm, which makes their video go viral. And so people are doing this on purpose, but people are also just lying about things to get more views. And it's just an interesting thing that I had never thought about before, that people would do this just to get the views. And we see this going on in our world today, right? Like we can see in our politics, even a lot of things are happening like this. There's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of which is another thing that people use, right? If people can scare you, you'll comment about it. You'll watch longer, right? We love horror movies, right? But now we're seeing horror in our social media. But it's not in a fun way, right? It's in like we're being purposely triggered to be fearful about things. And it's not to say that there aren't things out in the world to be fearful of. There are a lot of things to be afraid of, but it's actually being utilized in all of our social media, even in the news. We're seeing like influencers on, and I'm talking about everybody. I'm just not talking about influencers that you might follow somebody on social media or something like that. I'm talking about people that are on TV that you watch in the news and all these things. Everyone's an influencer, right? Because they're influencing the way that we think, what we comment on, how we feel. And that's why I said we have to be careful about what we're listening to and what we're taking in, and we have to be cognizant that these things are not just what's happening, these are tactics, and some people will go as far as lying about it in order to get what they want. Now, one of the things that, I mean, careers are made on this stuff. So one of the things that this woman that I was watching, that I'm gonna link her videos, 2 of her videos below that I watch. Some people stumble upon this on accident, and then what they do is they decide that's the way to go, and they basically back the winning horse, right? So they may have been putting out other videos and they were getting nominal views, but as soon as they accidentally did something that enraged people or offended people, they said something, all of a sudden they got hit with a slew of comments and people going back and forth, and that bumped the video up to going viral. And then they realized, I can use this, and then they switched their channel. So an example of this is like one person, um, her channel was about making sourdough bread. And I guess at one point she made sourdough bread cookies, and she showed, she got the ice cream out of the freezer and she just cut slices of it through the cardboard, and then she popped them out and put them in the cookies. Well, apparently something as simple as that made people comment and made that video go viral because everybody was complaining about and talking about how she cut the ice cream too thick. So she realized that by cutting the ice cream, for some reason that enrages people, that she was gonna start doing all her videos with different recipes of cookies and different things with ice cream sandwiches, and she milked that for quite a while. And the slices of ice cream got thicker and thicker because it, for some reason, enraged people. So so what she was doing was she was monetized now, making money off of enraging people. And this is why we have to be really careful about who we're following and what we're paying attention to and what we're comparing ourselves to, because a lot of these things that people are doing now are fabricated and not authentic just because they're making their careers off of it. They know that if I make people fearful, if I enrage people, um, all the things that we see going on right now in the world, if I can do all of that, if I can create suspicion, if I can create divisiveness, all these things, if I can do that, there's an algorithm and a revenue in it for me. And there are people that are willing to do that. And then we see, that people want these health and wellness lifestyles, and there's a lot of people that are promoting that, but then when they're doing that, they're lying about it. They're not actually representing themselves as they really are. They're representing a lie of what they're telling their followers they are. And you're going to see, if you watch the video that I post, you're going to see all that, because there's like, she looks at receipts, and they're time stamped, and she's showing you, like, catching all the little things that, the average person is not looking for. But when she was looking to see, is this real? She caught a lot of stuff. And so it's just really important that we not compare ourselves to the people that we're seeing out in the world, because that is the source of a lot of depression, going on Instagram and Facebook, and we think everybody's having this wonderful life, and we think everybody's doing better than we are. And I'm telling you, on the other end of that, like, I try and be as authentic as possible and tell you, like, I'm having a hard time right now. And I put that in my videos, and guess what? It doesn't feed the algorithm. So my videos don't get a lot of views, and I'm not monetized, and I'm working towards that, but I want to do it my way, and I've always been about the slow burn, and I want people to be helped by the things that I'm saying, and I also want it to represent who I am as a person. And I only want to get there if I get there being authentically who I am. And, it's just important to me that I appeal to everybody, but unfortunately on YouTube, that doesn't feed the algorithm, right? That's why I say you guys got to like and subscribe and leave comments, because it's the only way that it happens, but people are more geared to leaving comments when they are angry about something or opinionated about something, or someone else was super opinionated about something, and then it triggered your opinion of something, right? And I don't do that. I'm not here to trigger you, and I'm not going to trigger you. If I do, it's not purposeful. If anything, I'm trying to trigger you into happiness and joy, and I'm okay with that. But it's interesting, and we can fall into kind of a deep depression because we're comparing ourselves a lot to other people and the things that we see. And I'll be the first to tell you right now, you guys, that I've been struggling with a lot of things lately. Business is one of them. It's been a struggle. And I'm noticing a lot of changes, and I'm noticing from a lot of other people who have their own practices that they're struggling too. I have the benefit of being able to hear from other people, so that I can see the shared experiences that we're having. And when, we're dealing with things with our business and our livelihood, we can get really stressed out over these things. We lose sleep over these things. We It's just natural, so we have to learn how to balance all these things and bake certain things into the cake. We have to learn how to surrender. We have to learn that, like my son said something really good to me that was just no nonsense, where he just said, yeah, but isn't that just like, that's part of business? Like, if you were like, no matter what your business, you're going to have moments where it's slow. Like, business is just really slow, and it happens to literally every type of business. And so I had to get my mind straight, right? Because I'm seeing, this um, with things, and yet the numbers are still looking good, but revenue is affected, right? And this is happening to a lot of people. And the more that you realize that, okay, one, you got to bake it into the cake. Two, there's a lot of people experiencing this. There's also a lot of things happening in the world that are affecting these things. And we've got, the war with Russia and Ukraine. We have the Israeli and Hamas war, that everybody's talking about. So that is just that's a dampener, right? Like, that makes everybody scared and upset, and people who know people where these wars are happening are frightened, and they're seeing a lot of this stuff. Then we have, like, politics over here where, there's a lot of divisiveness and people going at each other, and, um, people hating each other, for it's just there's a lot of this stuff going on. And I've personally noticed that whenever, like, a war starts or something happens like that, that it will automatically affect business because it affects the mood. And so we have all these things going on right now in the world, and it's bound to have an effect on our practices and our money situation, and um, the pessimism of people, the happiness of people. And we just have to realize that, this too shall pass. It will. And I just released a video today that you can go and watch, and, it's funny because I try and release not try, I do, I release I'm doing videos every Monday now. They're really short, okay, and, like, 5 minutes or less, and I wanted to start doing a video every single Monday, and this is my way of, with my YouTube channel, I really wanna strengthen that to be a force of good in the world, right? And you guys can help me do that by watching that every week. But I realized that I have all of October already scheduled out and into November, but, I didn't put one on for today. So I took the one for November and dropped it in because it's relevant to right now. I thought it would benefit you, and it shows me walking in the forest and talking about this, but, it was, I was struggling until I heard this. That's the title of it. And I want you guys to go watch that because I talk about that and how to take all of this stuff into perspective so that you can endure and that you can get through the really rough times. And there's something in that you guys absolutely need to hear. It's going to be a game changer for you. It was for me. I heard it from someone else. It was an unlikely source, and I put the link to who I heard it from in the link of that video. I want you to watch that link too when you go to it because it's a no-nonsense guy. He's like a rancher, and he said something so straight, and I was like, that just cured all the fears and the things that I had going on because it forced me to make a choice in that moment, and I did. There was no other choice. I just gave up the illusion that there was. Okay? So, please watch that video. It's already out on my channel. The cover of it is me. You'll see nature in the background. It's like, I quit this. I was struggling until I quit this. It's shockingly easy, and it's gonna change your life and how you feel moving forward. You just gotta keep it in your mind. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this, and of course, after I do this video, I'm going to put the 2 videos of the girl that I was telling you about in the link below because I want you to see that just to put things into perspective that another reason why we can get depressed and down is because we're comparing ourselves a lot. And we may not even think that we're doing that, but we are. It's getting in, you walk around and you're inundated with information. And that's the other thing is stop putting information into your brain 24/7. I just talked to my husband about this last night. We're all guilty of this too. Me too. Because it's like, "Oh, I'm doing this task. I'm gonna put a podcast on. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna listen to this. I'm gonna listen to that." We take our phones with us and we're listening to stuff 24/7 because we can. But back before cell phones, we actually gave our brain a rest. And some of you may not even know that time frame. You may have grown up in an age where there were always cell phones, but I remember a day when there wasn't, and there wasn't social media. And when people left their daily job, they got a break from emails and hearing about it. They weren't working 24/7. They went home to their families and they couldn't do work because work was at a location and they had to be there to do it. And employers were not texting and they weren't calling people on the home phone because you can't do that. You couldn't do that then. I don't think you can do that now in off hours unless you're like a VP or something where you're on schedule all the time. Um, there was quiet time, and it's really important for you to not try and fill every single moment of your day with something. So, oh, I know what we did. We saw a movie. We saw a movie, and it triggered me right now. We saw a movie. Oh gosh, I can't. It's like it has a Greek name. It's like these worlds, right? And it's very social commentary to what's going on right now, and a lot of people are walking out of it. And I can't even remember what the name of it is. Me- it's like Metropolis, but Pagalopolis or Megalopolis or something like that. You guys might know the name of that. Um, And there was something in that struck me. There was so much in that I feel like, it was there was so much that you couldn't walk away with one thing. There was many people who walked out of that movie, so it was very triggering because it was just showing today's day, but in a different, fantasy sort of way. Um, But one of the things in there, he was really rich and he was very an idea person. He was always creating something magical. And someone walks in and says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "No, no, no." He was reading a some junk magazine, right? Like that just has junk articles that are probably all fake and, gossip and stuff. And here he is like a genius. And she was surprised by it and like, "Why are you reading that?" Because it was clearly like a junk magazine. And he goes, "To waste time." And I thought, you know what? That's the thing we're not doing anymore. Like, we're not just wasting time to just be offline, to be off script, to be off of our life path that we're working so hard to be on, like all these goals and all these things we're trying to achieve and all these, it's endless. So where are we just wasting time because it's fun? We're just not engaged in the act of accomplishing something. That's the important thing is we need to spend some time wasting some time because those are the moments where we're just being quiet. We're not we're not doing a whole lot of things. Um We're just in the moment having fun. We're not stressing ourselves out, looking at our past, present or future in the ways of what we're doing with our life and our goals or what's going wrong or what's going right. We tend to focus more on the stressful stuff like what's going wrong. And we just allow ourselves to waste time doing something. And for some of us, it might be scrolling and watching, like dog and cat videos. And that's okay if that's your time wasted, you know what I mean? Because you meant to waste that time, not because you got sucked into it and you went on for something, you were trying to accomplish and then you got sucked into it. That's different. And also setting time limits on things like that too. You might even, before you go on, set a timer on your phone so it buzzes you to realize how long you've been on. That's a good thing to do because you lose time. But start taking some time where you are not in your ears in headphones or earbuds. You're not listening to a podcast or a story on Audible or, being enraged by the news or any of that. And you're just in quiet time. Maybe you're just outside taking a walk and you're not asking yourself I need to be stimulated every second of the day because in those moments is when you're going to have your breakthrough moments. So we get focused on all of our problems because we never give our brain to separate from them. Because everything that we do is constantly inundating our brains with activity. And A lot of our solutions come when we go back out in nature, we do an activity, we go out, we do something where we're just kind of wasting time. We're not programming ourselves, we're not listening, hearing opinions and what's going on in the world. We don't need to fill all of our time. We need some time away from all of that in quiet. And it could be that you just are driving to the store, but you don't put anything on. You're not asking to be entertained by anything in that moment. And you will be surprised how many answers to your problems that or things that you were thinking about come in those moments. But then we start to when we don't do that for ourselves, we start to spiral. We take a downward spiral into depression and defeatism and all these other things because these things get heavy. The more we focus on them, they get super heavy and they turn into depression, and we keep adding things to them. And before you know, we're spiraling downwards. So the answer to that is silence. And it's always been some silence, right? People used to go home, they'd be with family, they'd focus on love and taking care of their children or their cats or their dog or whatever. Do that for yourself. When you get home or if you work from home, make sure that there's a cutoff. And when that cutoff happens, it's all about your pets, the people that you love. It could be a spouse, it could be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, it could be wasting time watching your favorite program on TV. Okay. But make sure that you're just cutting yourself off from always having to be, well, I know that last one I said, cutting watching a program, that's part of wasting time, but you do also want to implement some time where you're not being entertained. So let me make that distinction. Make sure try it, get a good hour of that in every day. So maybe when your workday stops, like whether you're leaving a physical job or whether you work from home and you go, okay, I have a cutoff. Like I have a cutoff at 4 o'clock. That's it. I still do work sometimes, on off times, but in my mind, cats need to be fed. I do other things and I kind of give myself a workday cutoff, which is like I work like I say 10 to 4, but I'm really up at like 5:30 in the morning. But by 4 o'clock, I give myself permission to check out. And if there's a sale or something going on, then I will have to, work on doing certain things and it might require me to be there a little bit longer, but for the most part I cut things off at 4 and I give myself quiet time. Now, I got caught up in not doing that, where I was stimulated constantly and then I thought, "You know what? I need to stop. I need to actually uh-oh, my music is like cutting out. Um I just need to stop listening to something and just being quiet." And I was really surprised because I was struggling with something. And when I did that, the answer came. The mentality I needed to have came. And it couldn't have come unless I stopped entertaining myself to death. Okay. And that's what I'm saying is that when we start doing that and we're entertaining ourselves to death with social media and news and all this stuff we're inundated with, and we're constantly listening and in our ears, we're causing a lot of issues for ourselves. We're leading ourselves into depression because we're not giving our brains time to quietly be with ourselves and have a thought that's our own and work ourselves through it without even thinking about it. Like not willfully trying to solve it, but you're just maybe driving to the store, or you're doing some dishes, or you're cooking a meal and you're in silence. You're doing an activity and all of a sudden you can finish a thought and you end up with, wow, that was very like healing for me or cathartic. So anyway, I'm gonna end it there because I definitely said enough there. But I want you guys to think about that today. And I would love it very much if you could know what your cutoff time for work is going to be today and put yourself on a schedule that is realistic for you. It's something that you can continue to do. And after work, take 1 hour designated every day after work to just do whatever, but don't entertain yourself while you're doing it. Be in the natural sounds of your living. Play with your dog, play with your cat, read a book. For a while there, every day after work, I was going straight to the couch to read for an hour. And that changes. Sometimes I can do that and sometimes I can't. It's like feed the cats, go read my book for an hour. And that okay. And I know that is still putting something in your brain, but it's a different part of your brain that you're just escaping into some story. You know, whatever it is that you need to do, regardless of that, and even going for a walk, take that time to just be by yourself and you can be around other people, but just engaging in the normal thing, not in the entertainment. Okay. Okay, so oh my goodness, I haven't read any of these comments for a little bit because I was on a roll with you guys, but I will go through all these because there's quite a few of these comments. And as you guys can probably hear too, it's so funny because I never think about this, but on Mondays, it's like landscaping day. So there's all these landscapers that come in and they're in the back side of the house right now, but pretty soon they'll be over here too. Okay, so I promised you one other thing that I wanted to go over, which is the 11 things to quit. And we're going to kind of rapid fire these things. 11 things to quit for a healthier, happier life. Now, I already talked to you about some things, but these are kind of different. Get your journal if you have one and write these things down or just listen, and you can always come back to this video later and write some out, but I want you to really think about how these things impact you. Okay, so 11 things. Let me try this. 11 things to quit. I wrote these on little cards. Okay, so working constantly is one of them. Okay, so I wrote waste more time on pleasant things. Okay, so these are rapid fire. I'm not gonna like really like draw these things out because all of these will probably end up in a video where I'll talk more about it, but I'm going to give these kind of rapid fire to you. For a second, I thought I saw my cat. Oh, my cat is there. I'm so turned around, you guys, when I'm looking at my screen, but I've got my two kitties on on the other side. Okay, so number 2, neglecting physical health. Okay, remember, this is things to quit. Start learning about better food, more whole foods in your diet, and less junk. More physical activity. So start learning about better food, more whole foods, less junk, and more physical activity. Okay. Number 3 of things to quit. Quit sweating the small stuff, people. There are so many major things going wrong in the world. We don't need to sweat every little tiny thing that happens. And we tend to do that. We worry about literally everything. So I put choose carefully what is worthy of stress and what is passing in your life because not everything is worth stressing out over. Okay, quit losing sleep. Did you know that you require 7 hours of sleep every night? And people who get less than 7 hours of sleep every night are high. How do I say this? Are more likely to have stroke, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Yikes. I heard that and I was like, okay, I need my 7 hours. So you need to figure out what time does that mean that you need to go to bed. Think of how many hours you're getting now and then what time you normally wake up. I'm going to turn this down. Think about what time that you wake up in the morning and make sure that you give yourself 7 hours of sleep every night. So figure out what time you need to go to bed and then go to bed at the right time so that you don't have to deal with any of these things like worrying about stroke or Alzheimer's or dementia, right? That's a study. I can't cite the source, but if you do some research, it's out there. Okay, number 5, quit over committing yourself to things. Okay, and I wrote stop committing to things you think you're obligated to. You're not. So if you don't want to do something, stop committing to it because you feel obligated to do it. You're not obligated to do anything that you don't want to do. And this is tied into approval seeking, right? Sometimes people feel like they have to do it because maybe someone they respect asked them to do it. Maybe it's somebody keeps asking you to work overtime and you keep saying yes when you don't want to. Say no. need to do it. And, unless it was part of your job description, you can say no to those things. If someone asks you to go to a party and you don't want to go to it, you would rather be home and watch a movie or, do something else. Say no. You don't need a reason to say no to something. Also, if someone wanted you to go to a party and you don't feel like it, you don't have to make up a reason either. You don't have to lie about it. You can just say no. If you don't want to, whatever it is that you don't want to do, stop committing and even over committing yourself to doing things you don't want to do. So those are things you can quit. Number 6, shitting on yourself. Quit shitting on yourself. Okay. If you took my Reiki class, you know this one because it's like we should, oh, I should do this or I should do that. Well, according to whom should you? Like you're intelligent enough to figure out things for yourself, but you also, so you don't need other people shitting on you because you're in control of yourself, but you also don't need to, even don't is a word, right? It's hard to speak in the English language without saying some of these words. It's tricky. However, you don't want to should on yourself either, right? And then be doing that to yourself because that's not good for your own self-esteem. You have power to do whatever it is that you want to do. You say yes or you say no, but you don't need to shit on yourself. Number 7, working for bad relationships. Quit working for bad relationships. People get into relationships that are very toxic and they're working really, really hard to make these relationships better, and the other person isn't. Or maybe it's work related. Maybe your work is really toxic. Maybe it's an environment thing that's really toxic and you're working really hard to make it better, but nobody else is, or the person, that's making things toxic isn't. So quit working so hard at that. If let things die on the vine if they need to. If something's really toxic, you don't need to keep working towards it. Let it go. Stop working on it. Quit working on something that is not working for you as well, right? Okay, so gosh, that could be like a whole course in itself. So you're going to have to put that in a context that works for you in a positive way. Okay. All right. Number 8, mindless spending. I heard this one and I thought this was really great too, because we all do a little bit of mindless spending, right? So buy things that benefit your body and your soul. So think about that every time that you're going to purchase something. Does this benefit my body or my soul? Think first, save more. Spend on experiences spend on experiences, time shared with those you love, right? And this is something I'm really focused on is I'm focused on spending more money on the things that are creating memories and fond moments with people that you love. And that's great. The mindless spending on things that are not benefiting you and you're just kind of buying them because to do it, or maybe it's interesting, but you don't really need it. So buy less, save more, but really think every time you make a purchase, how is this benefiting my body and soul? And if it really isn't, maybe you consider not buying it. Okay. And then you put that money in the savings because then you can save it to have an experience and go somewhere and do something fun. Okay. Number 9, quit procrastination. Okay. So I put just do it. Um, this is something I heard. In 3 generations, no one will remember you. So who cares? Live your life now before it's too late. Do the things you want to do and stop procrastinating. Who cares? If you're worried about people judging you or whether or not you feel like you have enough confidence or you know enough yet, who cares? In 3 generations, no one will remember. So just have fun and stop procrastinating and just do whatever it is you want to do. Don't worry about other people. Okay, number 10, quit quitting. Okay. In our minds, we think, oh, I could just give up. And this causes so much like sadness and depression when things get hard. We start thinking like we could just I could just quit this and give up and all this. No, you can't because it's part of your purpose and you're driven to do it. An example of this is when I back in the day, I got really frustrated with writing and things were not going my way, and I had an agency behind me, and they weren't able to sell my books after like 2 years of trying, and I was so frustrated. And I yelled out, "I'm not gonna write anymore. Come on. I'm giving up writing. I hate it. I'm not gonna write anymore," because I was really frustrated and I'm quitting writing. No, you're not. It's part of who I am. I couldn't quit it if I tried because it's part of me. It's how I express myself. It's part of my purpose and how I express things to other people, how I reach people. So quit the quitting, because whatever you're pursuing is that's you. You can't quit yourself. You delude yourself to think you can, but you can't because it keeps rising to the surface. Hello. Right? So quit quitting. That's another one. Okay, and number 11, this is the final one, is quit fearing change. And what I wrote here was adapt your point of view on change. See it as an adventure to God's or the universe's plan, as a willful act, not something to fear. Okay. And where I got that was the willful act part was from Joseph Campbell, which if you don't know him, look him up on YouTube or books, whatever. He's amazing. He's gone now, but he's the one that coined the phrase follow your bliss. And one of the things that he said that really struck me was, if you, we, when there's change in life, it's natural that fear comes along. And if we could just change our point of view to see our fears of change, or see change as something that becomes a willful act on our part to engage, that we could turn that fear into a willful act. And instead of it being something that we're afraid of, it becomes something that we are willfully endeavoring into. So I want to leave you with that, because that is as good a place to leave it as any. Now we've been here for an hour now, and so I had other things that I was going to do, but you guys, it's I want to end it here because it's been an hour and 2 minutes now. Um, I just want to tell you that I've had so much fun meeting with you guys, and I wanted to get your Monday started right, and with you guys thinking about some things. I know there's several of you here, and there's going to be many of you guys that will watch this in replay. And while you're watching this, I hope that if you didn't, you go back and you listen again, not during your quiet hour, but listen again and listen to set these goals with the 11 things to quit, and write down in your journal the things that if any one of these stood out to you, the things that you need to personally quit. And if any of the things stood out to you in the conversation before about the cautions of comparing yourself and, false marketing and all that stuff, really helps us to align with the way that we want to put our message out there. I want you to listen with a journal, or even after you've listened to all this, you could just maybe sit in your quiet space. This could be part of your quiet hour, where you take your journal and you write out all the things that you're now thinking about for yourself, so that you can be healthier and happier. Okay. So, with that being said, you guys, I love you so much. And I am going to read through all of the comments, and the comments should actually still be there in replay. I hope I marked that box to do that, but they should still be there in replay. But when I end this, I am going to go through and I'm going to read through all these. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here with me. I hope that the background was fun, and I hope you guys got something out of this. Before we go, did any of you guys have any? Do you have any questions for me before I sign out? And I'm going to give you a second to put that. Or do you want to say anything really quickly? Oh, Charlie Jean, the work cutoff is 4:30. I love that. Love and healing light to all. Excellent. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys. Well, that's it for today. And I just wanted to randomly do a public coffee date so everybody will be able to view this on the YouTube channel. And Kathy, I love this. Good. I'm glad that you guys got something out of this. And I really do want you to take some time to do some journaling and to think about things and just realize we're all in this together and really, really guard your time and guard your peace. Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And if you don't cognitively think about how you're going to do that, you're gonna be inundated with the negative messaging that's out there, so I really want you guys to just focus on that and set a schedule of peace for yourself. So, remember the most important thing if you walk away with nothing else today is that I would really love to hear from you, and you can even post on the social media or post down below later or what have you to this video about what you did with your hour of time. When once you do that today, schedule that in every day where you're giving yourself an hour of quiet time doing other things, but not entertaining yourself in your ears and how that affected you and what it changed in you because you're going to find that it's going to make a big impact in how you feel and your mood. And if you've been kind of suffering through some fears or even a little bit of sadness or depression, you might really see a change in that by just giving yourself an hour of quiet time per day where you're not inundated by not the radio, not the TV, not podcasts, nothing. You're just doing activities in your house or being with the people that you love and talking to them or playing with your animals or just dishes, cooking, but not being stimulated by anything and what change that brings about in the way that you feel about your life. So that I would love to hear when you guys have put that into practice. Okay. So with that being said, my loves, I will see you guys really soon and we will talk. Well, we'll talk later. Okay. Bye bye.